Hi there and welcome back to Japan, where I'm going to be reviewing Hello Sleepwalkers now for the second time. If you want to see the reaction that I just did, pause this video, click the link in the description below and you'll be able to see that in a separate player. Otherwise, I'm about to give you the review. You ready? Here we go. Alright, don't say I didn't warn you. So, this was a really interesting one. I've got to admit that, as always, we're honest about the positive and negative on this channel. I really liked this song, but at the same time, it didn't have the same impact on me that the first song I heard by them did. And apologies that I can't remember the name. It was something about a monkey falling out of a tree, I think. I translated it and then it was so weird that I didn't remember it. Anyway, so this had a much more direct, obvious sort of sound that it was going for. It wasn't quite so playful, and yet it was kind of fun in the way it was going for something a little bit retro. It reminded me both of the sort of, I guess I would say, late 70s sort of garagey sort of, when you first start getting those sort of grungy sounds coming into rock music. Reminded me a little bit of that. And also it was quite reminiscent as well of back in the early 2000s when we had a lot of the sort of revival of those sorts of more grungy sounds, and you're getting a lot of those, I can't remember, they were all the bands. Like the White Stripes and the Hives and all of these kinds of bands. Reminded me a little bit of that as well. It definitely was going for that deliberately overly distorted sound. I remember a lot of those bands used to, like, they were all going to like places like Abbey Road and old studios to use old equipment in some attempt to be edgy. You can easily reproduce those sounds, I would imagine these guys did digitally. So anyway, it had that real edge. It had that edge of going for being more distorted than anything. So that worked as an intended point. However, if I was balancing this against the only other song I've heard by Hello Sleepwalkers, that song worked because it had such a variation of sound and tone, and it was so playful for something which was effectively a guitar rock band. That it was so playful with the tones it used that this one kind of goes in the opposite direction and is deliberately very limited in the sort of tonal scope that it uses. You know, you've got you have backing vocals in this, but it's essentially speaking the one singer. It's all delivered in a fairly similar sort of style. And like I say, it's pretty much distorted all the way through. However, you know, credit where credit's due. Like I said, that obviously sounded intentional. It had a real energy. It felt like a sort of song that works very specifically in a certain type of mood, a certain type of situation. It doesn't really sound to me like a sit down and listen to this properly song. This more comes across, and so this might be a bit of an unfair review to even do, but it sounds like it's more comes across as like one for the crowd. I mean, the whole idea of having a chorus where it's kind of shouted along call and answer style, that's a very live chorus way of doing things. And then on top of that is the whole energy. Like I say, it was constant full on energy. It didn't try to go for any sort of variation or anything at any point in the tone. It was just on. So yeah, I suspect, like I say, this is not designed to be viewed as a musical masterpiece, more just a sort of a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a shot to the arm of energy. So on that front, does it work? Yeah, essentially speaking, it does work. They are nuanced enough to have, like I say, little backing vocal bits, which give it a little bit more interest. It changes through its sections. It doesn't stay too static, even though it's sort of driving along with a similar tone. It changes through different little verses and choruses and bridges in a fairly nice, fast way. It manages to hit a good, energetic chorus. I would say the chorus, unfortunately, lacks the quality of being catchy. To me, it didn't feel like a catchy chorus at all. And you can have very catchy, sort of punky football chanty type choruses. I mean, if you think about a football chant, the whole reason they're a football chant is because they're catchy. So it's not impossible to do that, and I'm not holding that against them. It is still very difficult to write something catchy and original. However, it would have been, I think it would have elevated the song a lot more if it stuck in your memory, because I'm trying right now to remember how the chorus went, and I can kind of remember the energy and how it was rhythmically shouted, but I can't really remember the melody for any valid reason, although I am thinking about talking of the review, so maybe that's taking up too much of my brain capacity. It's not a very big brain, despite how big the forehead looks. So yes, it was it was a genuinely enjoyable song. It had a real sense that it knew the energy it was going for and it kept it. However, due to lack of a catchy hook and due to a lack of originality in the sound, which, like I say, I'm not criticizing because obviously they're going deliberately for this slightly retro style sound, it leaves me with a feeling that as much as I enjoyed this while it was on, it's not going to sit in my memory in any way that's going to make me go back to it unless I stumble across it. In which case, it'd be one of those ones, if you stumble across it, you're probably going to be really happy that you did. But that's about as far as it's going to go with this one. Whereas the previous song I heard by them, I'm sort of regularly thinking, oh, I want to pop that on again. That's kind of like, that's a hard rock track I could really use. So nothing against this one, but it doesn't stand out. I'm glad I'm hearing this as a second song rather than a first song, because as a first song, it might not have, like I say, drawn me in to listen to more of them. However, as a second song, it's an interesting variation and shows they do have variation of style. And like I say, they still delivered a lot of originality into this, right down to the last idea of just finishing on the bass note with no guitar. Little things like that, they seem so simple, but they require thought. They require someone going, yeah, okay, that's the way I would do it. And then the producer will sort of bounce that idea off the band, most likely. Whoever came up with it will be bounced around, and then they'll go, actually, yeah, that's a creative choice we're going to go for. And people often miss how everything in a song is someone's creative choice. So you can really pull apart so many different facets of a good track, and compliment them where it's well deserved. So yeah, still a very well executed track, but like I say, not likely to stick with me in any meaningful way. Just a good little enjoyable piece of energy while it's on. So as always, get in the comments, tell me what you think, because this is just my opinions. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. All that matters is what you like and what you think. So get in there, have a discussion. Hopefully we can share a little bit of nice discourse about this. And obviously all our other social medias where we're waffling all the time are also linked in the description below, along with our Patreon. And a massive thank you to our Patreon supporters for keeping this channel alive. Crikey, we've been for enough recently, haven't we? So anyway, for now, until I hopefully see you very soon on the next video, hopefully. For now, ciao, ciao.